Hey guys, this is Austin, and today I'm here with the top 5 upcoming phones. As I'm sure a lot of you know, it seems like there's a new awesome phone that comes out every month these days. So to help you guys out, I've decided to come up with a list of my top 5 upcoming phones for this year. Now definitely do keep all these things with a grain of salt. Some of these have not been announced yet, and some of them won't be coming out till later on this year. But without any further ado, let's take a look at the top 5 upcoming phones. At number 5, we have the Motorola and Google X phone. So there's been all kinds of crazy rumors that most of them are definitely not going to happen, but some of the ones that do seem to be pretty legitimate is that it will have a 4.7-inch display along with something like about a 10 to 12 megapixel camera. The X phone should also be powerful. So inside, expect to see a quad-core Snapdragon processor, which not only will be very fast in general, but will likely be one of the fastest phones ever once it's announced. Paired up with this, which is a definitely good combination, is a huge battery. So this shouldn't be a big surprise. Motorola has actually been doing really well with battery life in their phones lately because they're really cramming huge batteries into very thin phones. As this is partially a Google phone, definitely expect to see it running a version of Android, most likely 5.0, codenamed Keyline Pi. So as far as when we're going to see the X phone, most likely we'll see it around Google I/O, which will be in the next 2 to 3 months. At number 4, we have the Samsung Galaxy Note 3. Now the last Note was definitely a big phone in several ways, and I absolutely expect that to continue with the Note 3. Now I will mention that this one's probably going to be a little farther off than the rest of the phones on this list. We're looking at probably around the September to October launch. However, you can absolutely expect a large screen on this one, most likely around 5.9 to 6.3 inches. With a screen that big, a lot of the rumors are saying that the Note 3 will have a flexible display. Now no, you won't be able to take your Note 3 and just bend it in half whenever you want. However, what this will help with is for drops. So typically if you have a normal phone, it's a very rigid piece of glass. If it drops, the glass breaks and that's pretty much it. However, if the glass has just a little bit of flexibility to it, instead of just shattering and just being totally useless, instead it might just bend a little bit and you'll be just fine. And of course, since it's a Note, expect some really high-end specs. So internally we're looking at most likely an 8-core processor, and as far as the design goes, it's likely going to be very similar to the Galaxy S4, only just scaled up. A lot. Coming in at number 3 is the Apple iPhone 5S. Now just like the iPhone 4S was an upgrade from the 4, I would expect the iPhone 5S to be an upgrade from the 5. Now of course we will see some improvements, and I'll get into those in just a second, but for the most part it's going to look very similar to the current iPhone 5 that we have today. The number one thing I'm excited about is iOS 7, which should be the very first major overhaul of iOS since back in 2007. Now of course there have been lots of features that have been added in the meantime, however for the most part iOS looks just like it did 5-6 years ago. However, with this version, definitely expect a little bit of a different style. Probably it's going to be a little more flatter, a little bit more minimalistic, which definitely gets 2 thumbs up from me. As far as the rest of the specs go, this will most likely be the first iPhone powered by a quad-core processor, probably known as the Apple A7. On top of that, should see an improvement to the camera. So the current iPhone 5 has an 8 megapixel shooter. However, with the iPhone 5S, expect to see this bump to either 12 or 13 megapixels. At number 2, we have the Samsung Galaxy S4. Now this one has already been announced. In fact, I've already got myself some hands-on time with it, and you guys can check that video out if you want. But the gist of it is, this is a complete overhaul of the current Samsung Galaxy S3. On board, you'll find a 5-inch display with a resolution of 1920 by 1080. So to give you some context there, that is the exact same amount of pixels that's on a high-definition TV. Pretty impressive for a phone. Samsung has also added some pretty cool features. So you can take your hand and hover it over the phone without actually touching it to scroll up and down through different web pages. And on top of that, it also has dual camera, which allows you to take video with both the front and rear facing cameras at the same time and overlay them. So for example, if you were filming something, you could also see your face in the exact same video. The Galaxy S4 will be powered by Android 4.2, which is the latest version of Android as of when I'm filming this video. And on top of that, it also has a 13 megapixel camera as well as a pretty beefy battery. Coming in at number 1, fittingly enough, is the HTC One. Now this is one of the best design phones we've seen in a long time. The build quality is absolutely rock solid, and the materials are almost all aluminum, which makes it look and feel very premium. On top of that, it's got some cool little details. For example, it has dual front-facing speakers, as well as an IR blaster built in, which means that you can take your phone and actually use it as a TV remote. The One is also rocking some pretty beastly specs. So inside, you'll find a quad-core Snapdragon 600 processor, which is about as good as it gets right now, as well as a 4.7-inch 1080p display. Now HTC has always done a really good job with the screens on their phone, and the One is absolutely no exception. This is by far one of the best phone displays that you will find out right now. It's also got a 4 ultra-pixel camera. Now my friend MKBHD did a fantastic video going over what exactly an ultra-pixel is, so definitely be sure to go check that out. But the gist of it is, this allows it to get much better low light performance while still getting you all the detail that you would normally expect with a typical camera. Now that you've seen my top 5, definitely be sure to let me know in the comments below which phone you're most excited about for this year. If you're interested in more, feel free to check out my top 5 failed video game consoles. And if you enjoyed, definitely be sure to leave this video a thumbs up. And if you're interested in more videos, including reviews of all of these phones, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Anyway guys, I will catch you next time.